Have you ever woken up at 3 a.m. with that feeling in your chest, that heavy weight you can't name, that pain you've been running from your entire life? You know exactly what I'm talking about. That thing you don't want to think about. That memory that flashes in your mind and you immediately push it away. That part of yourself you hate. That wound you pretend doesn't exist. That darkness you've spent years trying to bury under achievement, under addiction, under busyness, under anything that keeps you from feeling it. So you grab your phone, you scroll through Instagram, you watch videos, you check your email, you do anything, literally anything, to avoid sitting with what's actually there. And maybe you don't even realize you're doing it anymore. Maybe it's become so automatic, so deeply ingrained in your nervous system that you don't even notice you're running. You just know you feel hollow, empty, like something fundamental is missing. Like there's this weight you carry everywhere but can't put down. And here's what breaks my heart. You probably think this makes you broken. You probably think there's something fundamentally wrong with you. You probably look at other people scrolling through their perfect Instagram lives and think they have it figured out while you're still stuck, still struggling, still carrying this thing you can't even name. You've tried everything, haven't you? Therapy, multiple therapists, self-help books stacked on your nightstand, meditation apps with notifications you ignore, positive affirmations you repeat while feeling like a liar, manifestation journals, gratitude practices. You've worked so hard to fix yourself, to improve yourself, to become better. You've done the morning routines, you've set the intentions, you've visualized your best life, you've tried to think positive, you've tried to let it go, you've tried to move on, and yet that pain is still there. That darkness is still there. That wound is still bleeding. In fact, it might be worse now because you've added shame on top of the original pain. Shame that you can't just get over it. Shame that you're still stuck while everyone else seems to be healing. Shame that maybe you're just too broken to fix. Maybe you've even started to believe it's permanent, that this is just who you are, that you'll carry this weight forever, that some people get to be happy and whole, and you're just not one of them. But what if everything you've been taught about healing is completely backwards? What if everything your therapist told you, everything the self-help books promised, everything the Instagram gurus sold you was missing the most crucial element? What if the pain you're trying to escape is actually the doorway to your power? What if the darkness you're running from contains exactly what you need to become, who you're meant to be? What if your deepest wounds are not scars to hide, but seeds waiting to grow into something extraordinary? This isn't motivational nonsense. This isn't toxic positivity telling you to just smile through your suffering. This isn't some guru telling you that everything happens for a reason or that your pain is a gift. This is something far more ancient, far more real, far more transformative. This is what Carl Jung, one of the most profound psychologists who ever lived, spent decades studying, experiencing, and teaching. Carl Jung didn't just theorize about transformation, he lived it. In 1913, at the age of 38, Jung had what he called his confrontation with the unconscious, what we might call a complete psychological breakdown. What he experienced would have put most people in a psychiatric hospital. He started having visions, terrifying, overwhelming visions of floods destroying Europe, of rivers of blood, of death and destruction on a massive scale. He heard voices. He saw figures from mythology appearing in his waking life. He felt emotions so intense they threatened to tear him apart. Most people in this situation would have done what we're taught to do: medicate it away, suppress it, try to return to normal as quickly as possible. But Jung did something radical, something that would change the course of psychology forever. He went deeper into it. He didn't run from the madness, he explored it. He recorded his visions in what would become the Red Book, a massive tome of writings and paintings that he kept secret for decades. He dialogued with the figures that appeared in his unconscious, treating them as real entities with their own wisdom to share. He sat with feelings that would have destroyed most people. He descended into the depths of his own psyche, into places so dark and terrifying that he wasn't sure he'd come back. And through that process, through that willingness to face his own darkness, through that confrontation with his own shadow, he didn't just survive, he transformed. He came out of it with insights that would revolutionize our understanding of the human mind. with wisdom that would help millions of people, with a depth of understanding about transformation that came directly from his willingness to face his own pain. This is what he's trying to teach you. This is what he learned in those dark years. This is what he spent the rest of his life trying to help people understand. Your pain is not random. Your suffering is not meaningless. Your wounds are not just damage to be fixed or hidden or ignored. They are the raw material of your transformation. They are the lead that contains gold. They are the exact thing that, if you can learn to work with it instead of running from it, will make you into something you could never become any other way. But first, you have to stop lying to yourself. You have to stop pretending you're fine when you're not fine. Stop performing happiness while dying inside. Stop smiling through gritted teeth at that family dinner. Stop saying, "I'm good," when someone asks how you are and you're absolutely not good. Stop scrolling through your phone at 3 a.m. instead of feeling what you're feeling. Stop numbing with alcohol, with food, with work, with Netflix, with shopping, with sex, with whatever drug of choice you use to avoid being present with yourself. Stop hiding. Stop avoiding. Stop running. Because here's what Jung understood that most people never learn. Every moment you spend running from your pain is a moment you spend giving it power over you. Every moment you spend hiding from your darkness is a moment your darkness spends controlling your life from the shadows. Think about it. Really think about it. How much of your life is organized around avoiding pain? How many decisions do you make, not based on what you actually want, but based on what won't trigger that feeling? How many relationships have you stayed in too long because leaving felt too painful? How many relationships have you ruined because you couldn't be vulnerable, couldn't let someone in, couldn't risk being hurt again? How many opportunities have you missed because you were too afraid, too anxious, too convinced you'd fail? How many times have you sabotaged yourself right when things were going well because some deep part of you doesn't believe you deserve good things? How many times have you chosen the safe path over the authentic path, the comfortable lie over the uncomfortable truth? The familiar suffering over the unknown possibility? That's not random. That's not bad luck. That's not just who you are. That's your unprocessed pain running the show. That's your shadow operating your life while you pretend it doesn't exist. That's the parts of yourself you've rejected secretly controlling everything you do. Jung called it the shadow, and it's one of his most important, most misunderstood concepts. The shadow is not evil. It's not bad. It's not the devil inside you. It's simply the parts of yourself you've rejected, denied, hidden, refused to acknowledge. The anger you're not allowed to feel. The vulnerability you're not allowed to show. The needs you're not allowed to have. The desires you're not allowed to want. The sadness you're supposed to get over. The fear you're supposed to be too strong to feel. The weakness you're not allowed to admit. The jealousy you're too evolved to experience. The rage you're too spiritual to express. All of those parts you cut off, you amputated, you buried in the basement of your unconscious mind because someone told you they were unacceptable, because your parents couldn't handle them, because your father shut down when you cried, because your mother needed you to be strong, because society said real men don't feel, because religion said good girls don't want, because your culture demanded you be one way when you were actually another way. So you buried them, you locked them away, you pretended they didn't exist, and you thought that was the end of it. You thought you'd successfully eliminated those unacceptable parts. You thought you'd become who you were supposed to be. But it wasn't the end. It was the beginning of your suffering. Because here's what happens to the parts of yourself you reject. They don't disappear. They don't die. They don't evaporate just because you stopped acknowledging them. They go underground. They move into the shadows. They relocate to your unconscious mind. And from there, from that hidden place you can't see, they run your life in ways you can't understand, can't control, can't explain. They become the anger that explodes out of nowhere over something trivial. The sadness that wells up for no apparent reason. The anxiety that grips you when everything seems objectively fine. The self-sabotage that destroys what you've built right when success is within reach. The patterns that repeat no matter how hard you try to break them. Let me paint you a picture. Maybe you'll see yourself in it. There's a man, let's call him Michael. Michael is successful by every conventional measure. Good job, six-figure salary, nice house in the suburbs, stable relationship, married for 10 years, 2 kids. From the outside, he has it all together. He's won the game. He's achieved the American dream. But inside, Michael is dying. He feels nothing, completely numb. He goes through the motions of his perfect life and feels absolutely empty. He looks at his wife and feels nothing. He plays with his kids and feels disconnected, like he's watching someone else's life. He gets promoted and feels nothing. Success means nothing. Achievement means nothing. He's hollow, and he has no idea why. He goes to therapy. The therapist tells him he might be depressed, prescribes antidepressants. They don't work, because Michael's problem isn't depression in the clinical sense. Michael's problem is that he buried his sadness when he was 8 years old. His father told him men don't cry, that tears are weakness, that he needed to toughen up, to be a man, to stop being so sensitive. So Michael stopped crying. He locked that sadness away in his shadow. He became strong, stoic, successful. He became exactly what his father wanted. And it worked in a way. He achieved everything. But that sadness didn't disappear. It went into his shadow. And from there, it didn't just make him sad. It made him unable to feel anything at all. Because here's what Jung discovered: you can't selectively numb emotion. You can't cut off access to one feeling without cutting off access to all feelings. When you reject sadness, when you refuse grief, when you bury pain, you don't just lose access to those difficult emotions, you lose access to joy, to love, to connection, to aliveness. Michael became successful but dead inside. He achieved everything and felt nothing. And he has no idea that his numbness, his emptiness, his inability to feel joy is directly connected to that 8-year-old boy who learned that his tears were unacceptable. Or maybe you're like Sarah. Sarah is anxious all the time, constantly on edge, can't relax, can't trust, can't let her guard down for even a moment. She's constantly waiting for disaster, constantly expecting betrayal, constantly checking her partner's phone, monitoring their location, interrogating them about their day, constantly controlling everything in her environment, because if she can just control enough variables, maybe she can prevent the catastrophe she knows is coming. She's exhausted, completely burned out from the constant vigilance. Her relationship is suffering. Her partner is pulling away from her controlling behavior, but she can't stop. The anxiety is too overwhelming. When Sarah was 12, her mother left. Just left. One day there, next day gone. No warning, no explanation, no goodbye. Just a note on the kitchen table saying she couldn't do this anymore. That abandonment wound cut so deep that Sarah decided, unconsciously, that she would never be caught off guard again. She would never trust anyone enough to hurt her like that again. She would never be vulnerable, never be dependent, never need anyone too much. So she rejected her need for connection. She buried her vulnerability. She locked away her capacity for trust. She built walls so high that nothing could hurt her. And she thought those walls would protect her. She thought she'd solve the problem. But those walls didn't protect her. They became a prison. Because the part of her that needs love, that needs connection, that needs to trust and be vulnerable and depend on others, didn't disappear when she rejected it. It went into her shadow. And from there, it doesn't just hide quietly, it screams. It creates anxiety. It manufactures catastrophic scenarios. It imagines betrayals that haven't happened. It pushes people away before they can leave. It sabotages relationships right when they get close. It keeps her safe from abandonment by ensuring she's always alone, by making sure no one can get close enough to abandon her because she pushes them away first. Do you see the pattern? Do you see how this works? Do you see how the parts of yourself you reject don't go away but become your symptoms? Your anxiety, your depression, your rage, your numbness, your addictions, your compulsions, your self-sabotage, your relationship patterns, your career stagnation, all of it, all of the suffering in your life that seems random or inexplicable or outside your control is actually your shadow trying to get your attention. It's your unconscious mind screaming at you to look at what you've buried, to acknowledge what you've denied, to feel what you've been avoiding, to integrate what you've rejected. This is what Jung meant by alchemy. In ancient times, medieval alchemists tried to turn lead into gold. They failed at literal transformation, at changing one metal into another. But in their failure, in their obsessive work with matter and transformation, they stumbled onto something far more valuable: psychological transformation. Jung realized that the alchemical texts, with all their strange symbols and mysterious processes, weren't really about metal at all. They were metaphors for the human process of psychological transformation. Lead represents your pain, your wounds, your rejected shadow parts, everything heavy and dark you carry. Gold represents wisdom, wholeness, integration, the fully realized self. And the alchemical process, the heating and cooling, the dissolving and coagulating, the breaking down and building back up, represents the psychological work of transformation. But here's the thing about alchemy, about real transformation, about actually turning your lead into gold. It requires heat, it requires pressure, it requires breaking things down completely before you can build them back up. You can't turn lead into gold by being gentle with it. You can't transform your pain by avoiding it, by being nice to it, by tiptoeing around it. You can't integrate your shadow by pretending it doesn't exist, by staying in your comfort zone, by only doing the easy work. You have to go into the fire. You have to face it directly. You have to feel it fully. And that's terrifying. That's why most people never do it. That's why most people spend their entire lives running from their shadow instead of integrating it. Because facing your pain means feeling your pain, really feeling it, not thinking about it from a safe distance, not analyzing it intellectually, not understanding it theoretically, but feeling it in your body, letting it move through you, sitting with the grief you've been running from for 20 years, acknowledging the anger you've been suppressing since childhood, admitting the fear you've been denying your whole life, accepting the shame you've been carrying in secret, allowing the vulnerability you've been protecting against. And that hurts. God, it hurts. It hurts more than almost anything. It feels like it might kill you. It feels like you're breaking apart. It feels like you're losing yourself. And in a way, you are. You're losing the false self you built to be acceptable. You're losing the mask you've been wearing. You're losing the performance you've been maintaining. But here's what Jung discovered through his own breakdown, through working with thousands of patients, through decades of studying transformation. That pain, when you actually face it, when you actually feel it, when you actually allow it to move through you, instead of staying stuck inside you, it transforms, it changes, it alchemizes, it doesn't destroy you, it liberates you. The grief you've been running from, when you finally let yourself feel it, doesn't break you. It breaks you open. It cracks your heart wide enough to feel real love again. The anger you've been suppressing, when you finally acknowledge it, when you finally give it voice, doesn't make you a monster. It gives you boundaries. It gives you power. It gives you the ability to say no, to protect yourself, to stand up for what matters. The vulnerability you've been hiding, when you finally show it, when you finally let someone see the real you, doesn't make you weak. It makes you real. It makes you human. It creates actual intimacy instead of the shallow performance you've been maintaining. The fear you've been denying, when you finally admit it, when you finally stop pretending to be fearless, doesn't paralyze you. It informs you. It shows you what actually matters to you. It reveals what you're actually protecting. It becomes discernment instead of avoidance. The shame you've been carrying, when you finally bring it into the light, when you finally speak it out loud, loses its power. Because shame only thrives in secrecy, in darkness, in the shadow. When you bring it into consciousness, into relationship, into the light, it dissolves. This is the alchemical process. This is transformation, not transcendence, not rising above your humanity, not positive thinking your way out of reality, not spiritual bypassing where you pretend to be beyond pain, but going through it, going into it, going down into the depths of your own psyche and bringing back what you find there, descending into your own underworld and rescuing the parts of yourself you left behind. And I'm not going to lie to you, this is the hardest work you'll ever do. This is more difficult than any physical challenge, more painful than any external struggle, because this is internal. This is you facing yourself, all of yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly, the shameful, the terrifying. It's easier to climb a mountain than to face your shadow. It's easier to run a marathon than to feel your grief. It's easier to build a business than to acknowledge your shame. It's easier to achieve external success than to do internal work. That's why most people don't do it. That's why the world is full of successful people who are miserable inside. That's why achievement doesn't heal you. That's why you can have everything and still feel empty. Because you haven't done the internal work. You haven't faced your shadow. You haven't integrated what you've rejected. You've just gotten really good at running, at achieving, at building external success while remaining internally broken. But here's the question you have to ask yourself. How's avoidance working for you? How's running working out? How's pretending working? Are you happy? Are you whole? Are you free? Or are you exhausted from carrying weight you can't put down? Are you tired of waking up at 3 a.m. with that feeling? Are you sick of making the same mistakes? Are you done with sabotaging yourself? Are you finished with feeling empty despite having everything you thought you wanted? Because if you are, if you're truly done with suffering, if you're actually ready to transform, then there's only one path forward, and it goes directly through the very thing you've been running from. So let me tell you what this actually looks like. Not in theory, not in metaphor, not in psychological jargon, but in practice, in your actual life, in concrete steps you can take. Step 1, stop running, just stop. Stop medicating with alcohol, with drugs, with food, with shopping, with work, with Netflix, with scrolling, with whatever you use to avoid feeling. Create space to actually feel what you're feeling. That might mean sitting in silence for 10 minutes a day. That might mean journaling without censoring yourself. That might mean finding a therapist who actually understands shadow work. That might mean just allowing yourself to cry for the first time in years. Whatever it looks like for you, it starts with stopping the avoidance, with creating enough space for your shadow to actually speak, because it's been trying to get your attention for years. It's been screaming at you through your symptoms, through your patterns, through your pain, but you've been too busy running, too busy achieving, too busy performing to listen. Step 2, notice your patterns. Get curious about where you keep getting stuck. What keeps repeating in your life? What triggers you disproportionately? What makes you react like a child, even though you're an adult? What situations make you feel small, powerless, terrified? What people push your buttons in ways that don't make logical sense? These patterns are breadcrumbs. They're pointing you toward your shadow. They're showing you where the unintegrated material lives. Pay attention to them instead of dismissing them. Instead of saying, "I don't know why I'm like this," start investigating why you're like this. Step 3, ask yourself what you've rejected. Get really honest. What parts of yourself did you learn were unacceptable? What emotions weren't allowed in your family? What needs were you taught to suppress? What aspects of your personality did you have to hide to be loved, to be safe, to belong? Your shadow is made of these rejected parts, and they're still there, waiting in the darkness, waiting to be acknowledged. Make a list if you need to. Write down every part of yourself you've tried to eliminate. The anger, the neediness, the weakness, the sexuality, the aggression, the sadness, the fear. Whatever it is for you, name it. Bring it into consciousness. Step 4, feel it. This is where the real work happens. This is where transformation actually occurs. Actually feel what you've been avoiding. Not think about it, not analyze it, not understand it intellectually. Feel it in your body. Where do you hold your grief? Where does your anger live? Where is your fear stored? Go there with your awareness. Breathe into it. Let it move. Let it speak. Let it finally have the space it's been demanding all along. Cry if you need to cry. Rage if you need to rage. Shake if you need to shake. Let your body release what it's been holding. This is the alchemical fire. This is the heat that transforms lead into gold. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's painful. Yes, it feels like you might die, but you won't die. You're just finally allowing yourself to feel what you've been carrying. You're just finally processing what's been stuck. You're just finally completing what was interrupted. Step 5. Integrate it. Once you've felt it, once you've acknowledged it, once you've given it space and voice, you can begin to integrate it. And integration means recognizing that this shadow part isn't your enemy. It's not something to eliminate. It's something to reclaim. That angry part of you, it's not your flaw. It's your boundary setter. It's your protector. It's your ability to say no, to stand up for yourself, to demand respect. That sad part of you, it's not your weakness. It's your capacity for depth. It's your ability to feel, to connect, to be moved by beauty and loss. That scared part of you, it's not your limitation. It's your instinct for self-preservation. It's your wisdom about danger. It's what keeps you alive. All of these rejected parts, when integrated, become strengths, become wisdom, become power. This is Jung's alchemy. This is the transformation of lead into gold. This is how you turn your pain into power. Not by avoiding it, not by transcending it, not by positive thinking it away, not by achieving enough success to bury it, but by going through it, by facing it, by feeling it, by integrating it, by becoming whole instead of staying fragmented, by reclaiming the parts of yourself you abandoned to be acceptable. And when you do this, when you actually do this work, everything changes. You stop being controlled by your unconscious. You stop repeating patterns you don't understand. You stop sabotaging yourself in ways you can't explain. You stop attracting the same painful situations. You stop feeling like a victim of your own life because you've reclaimed your power. You've integrated your shadow. You've transformed your lead into gold. You've become whole. This doesn't mean you won't feel pain anymore. Life still hurts. Loss still happens. Disappointment still comes. People still die. Relationships still end. Failure still stings. But you're no longer running from it. You're no longer terrified of it. You're no longer controlled by it. Because you've learned the alchemical secret that Jung spent his life teaching. Pain, when faced, transforms. Suffering, when felt, teaches. Darkness, when integrated, illuminates. Your wounds, when acknowledged, heal. Your shadow, when integrated, empowers. Your lead, when heated in the alchemical fire, becomes gold. So here's my question for you, and I need you to really sit with this. Are you ready to stop running? Are you ready to face what you've been avoiding for years, maybe decades? Are you ready to feel what you've been numbing? Are you ready to integrate what you've rejected? Are you ready to turn your lead into gold? Because I promise you, I absolutely promise you, based on Jung's work, based on my own experience, based on thousands of years of alchemical wisdom, on the other side of your pain is your power. On the other side of your darkness is your light. On the other side of your wounds is your wisdom. On the other side of your breakdown is your breakthrough. But you have to go through it. You have to face it. You have to feel it. You have to do the alchemical work. And nobody can do it for you. No guru can do it. No therapist can do it. They can only guide you. No book can do it. No course can do it. No amount of positive affirmations, no amount of meditation, no amount of achievement, no amount of distraction. Only you can turn around and face your shadow. Only you can integrate what you've rejected. Only you can transform your pain into power. Only you can descend into your own underworld and rescue yourself. Jung spent his entire life showing people this path, not because it's easy, not because it's comfortable, not because it's what people want to hear, but because it's true, because it works, because it's the only way to actually become whole. Because every other path, every shortcut, every attempt to bypass this work just leads to more suffering, more fragmentation, more shadow material controlling you from the unconscious. So what are you going to do? Are you going to close this and go back to running, go back to numbing, go back to pretending, go back to achieving and performing and posting and scrolling and doing anything to avoid being present with yourself? Go back to suffering in familiar ways? Or are you going to finally turn around? Finally face what's been chasing you your entire life. Finally feel what you've been avoiding. Finally begin the alchemical work of transformation. The choice is yours, it always has been. But now you can't pretend you don't know. Now you can't pretend there isn't another way. Jung showed you the way. He lived it himself. He mapped it for you. He spent his life trying to teach you. The question is, are you brave enough to take it? Are you ready enough? Are you tired enough of suffering? Because I'll tell you the truth. Most people aren't. Most people will feel something stir while reading this, will feel a moment of recognition, will sense that this is true. And then they'll go right back to their patterns, right back to their avoidance, right back to their suffering. And that's okay. Not everyone is ready. Not everyone wants to change more than they want to stay comfortable. Not everyone is willing to pay the price of transformation. But some of you, maybe you, are different. Some of you are tired enough of the pain, broken enough to be willing to break down further, ready enough to descend. And for you, this isn't just information. This is the beginning. This is the moment everything changes. This is when you stop running and start transforming. This is when you stop avoiding and start integrating. This is when you stop being a victim of your shadow and start becoming whole. So take a breath right now. Feel what's in your chest. Acknowledge what you've been avoiding. Feel that weight you've been carrying. And know this, really know this. Your pain is not your enemy. Your darkness is not your curse. Your wounds are not your weakness. Your shadow is not your flaw. They are the raw material of your transformation. They are your lead waiting to become gold. They are your invitation to become whole. They are the door that's been waiting for you to finally walk through. The question is, will you finally accept the invitation? Will you finally walk through the door? Will you finally do the alchemical work? Your power is waiting on the other side of your pain. Your gold is hidden in your lead. Your wholeness is waiting in your brokenness. And it's been waiting your entire life. The question is, are you finally ready?